Welcome to Real Talk with Ed and Eric. I'm Ed.
I'm Eric.
Thank you for tuning in to another program. We really appreciate and value you being here.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What's happening today?
So we're in the holiday season. We're
Holidays,
firmly in the
my
guys.
favorite time of year, man.
Absolutely. We're
Yeah,
between Thanksgiving and Christmas. Christmas decorations are up, right? There's all sorts of hullabaloo. The traffic at the stores is,
yeah.
is worse, right?
Toys R Us is reopened in the mall.
I stopped in. It was a soft launch.
Okay.
Yeah, it's sadly it's basically a Go store. You know, the Go
Mm.
calendar stores that they pop up in the malls. It's a
Okay,
Go
I see what
store
you're
with a
saying.
few extra aisles. That was the
Okay,
initial launch. Not
okay.
not hating for the Toys R Us folks. If you want to sponsor the program, you're certainly welcome to.
Yeah.
I was underwhelmed, but I think it was a soft launch and it was a
Okay.
big space.
What day? When did you go?
I went last weekend,
Okay.
last Friday, or no, it's Saturday, the Saturday after Black
My
Friday.
hope would be as time go on that they would get more and more
I would think so.
in
Just
there.
I'm a little
Yeah.
concerned that with the short, it was only 27 days between Thanksgiving and Christmas this year,
Mm.
that if they weren't ready to go for Black Friday, but
Oh,
they are opening a cafe down there.
aren't they? I didn't know
So
that.
it's in the basement where the arcade used to be at
Okay.
Westroads.
Okay.
So for those that are watching from Omaha, right, the old Forever
Go check it
21
out.
store,
Yeah.
the two-story there, that's now Toys R Us. They have a lot of good stuff. I reminisce about the joyous days of my youth, walking into Toys R Us and being followed around. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, that was your story. And seeing all this toys everywhere. Sorry, not to make light of it. At some point, we got
We'll
more,
tell that story one
more.
day.
Yeah, absolutely.
You
Because
say your youth as an adult, I
oh,
still
I know, me too.
go
Yeah.
and enjoy it. So
Absolutely. But I just every toy was there, right? And
yeah,
they didn't get to that level yet
right.
with Westroads. So hopefully by the 27 Christmas season,
Yeah,
that this is really in it for the long haul. But
yeah,
but yeah, so Christmas y'all had just had and sadly one of my flights I got delayed, so I landed too late to join you. But you just had a big Thanksgiving meal
yeah. Hope
down at the
Center.
Hope Center.
Yeah, their
Yeah,
annual Thanksgiving dinner for the community, and this year with more people than we've ever had.
that's great.
And I love it to see
Yeah,
the community come to the Hope Center to see the joy
yeah,
and just the happiness on the faces of the families, our the families of our kids and the community.
yeah.
I wish we can do it every week, but
Right.
I know we can't. But it's like just the joy of that. It's probably bigger than our Christmas celebration. Our
Okay.
Thanksgiving celebration is probably yeah bigger than our Christmas celebration. I love the way the volunteers come from all over.
Yeah.
They came. We couldn't do it without the volunteers. I think
Sure. Yeah.
Creighton this year. Shout out to Creighton. Creighton sent a lot of their volunteers to come down to help
Yeah.
and yeah. So it was a lot of fun this year.
That's great. Yeah, I think I've been the last 2 or 3 years. And yeah, just it's a fantastic event, and
Yeah,
it's great to hear that even more folks. I love how God decided that the Hope Center needed to
yeah,
to be in that area, right, and is an opportunity, a place, just for folks to come and gather
yeah,
to, and if more folks come and realize that there's just something God can do there in so
yeah.
many different ways, right?
Yeah, there was so much food this year that they were sending food home with families.
Oh, nice.
I said, man, that had never happened before.
Right.
So yeah,
That's great. That's great. And so that was Thanksgiving, and then coming up for Christmas, so you have a
yeah.
Christmas event.
Christmas. Yeah, we have a Christmas event coming up on the 8th of December. I don't know if this
Okay.
program will be before that, but it's our Christmas giveaway for our kids and our families, and we have supporters of Hope all over the city
Okay.
give money resources to our families, and our kids get to actually come and shop for
Oh, right, right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So if you came down to Hope Center this week, the week of the 8th, you'll see the display almost kind of like a store,
Yeah.
and the kids get to come in and shop, and I love that too. Just the whole atmosphere of this time of year, man. It seems like everybody is just on a whole nother level of joy and happiness, and just yeah, and the Hope Center, probably one of the reasons why I've stayed at the Hope Center so long has been because of times like these.
Yeah.
I've always associated this time of year with just the joy of just interacting with people, having God. You can just feel the presence of God there, man. And
Right.
so,
Right.
yeah, so if you love little kids and you love the noise of little kids, come to the
Yeah.
Hope Center this week. You'll get
Yeah.
to hear all of that and watching them getting the opportunity to shop and that kind of thing, especially with all the things that are going on in the world. It's good to see some joy and happiness with kids still.
Absolutely. Well, and that's one of the things I love about, and there's a lot of different organizations do a lot of different programs out there, right? And we're glad that God has a big variety to how He's looking to help fill needs. One of the challenges that we've had, so my wife and I, it's just something that we've always, we do our Christmas shopping for our family, but then we always want to do something more, right? So we've participated with a number of different organizations to adopt a family in so many different ways, whether it's through a business or directly or whatnot. The challenge we've had is a number of times because certain organizations and programs get so large that just folks apply and they get approved and then they get designated and then they get whatever. And just a few of the times, unfortunately, it was more than half, the family honestly looked like they were living as good or better than the folks contributing to the organization. And it's like, wait a minute, how did you qualify? And it's not like an elitist thing, but it's just sometimes the bigger organizations have a really hard time making sure they go to the need. Right. And so there's a lot, unfortunately, there's just been especially over the last 10 or 15 years, since technology makes it easier to get information, folks are exploiting giveaway programs. Right. And so there's a lot of ways to make things look like a certain way. But at any rate, and one of the things I love about the Hope Center is that it's the right size organization, right? You can meet principal individuals involved with it, right? They're here in Omaha. You all know the families that are, working, the volunteers, right? And you're teeing up an organization operation for kids that really need something to get what they need, right?
One thing that's interesting that you say that. One thing I've been proud of in my years at the Hope Center, if there's a brochure telling you that, hey, this is the Hope Center for Kids and these are all the things that we do, you can come in the Hope Center anytime unannounced and you can see those things going on.
Right.
And I love that. To your point, I love that we try to do the best that we can to represent who we are, what we are all about, and that kind of, over the years we've had some hiccups up and down like any organization.
Right.
But what I love about the Hope Center is trying to stay as true to their original calling, to love and serve God, and to love and serve kids, and so we've expanded, with our senior group and that kind of thing, and our sports program.
Love the senior group.
Oh man, the senior,
folks.
With the senior group, to my surprise, I'm sure you know this, the senior groups in the area were closing.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, no funding, it's like, and you look at our seniors, they need love, support, care and that was all a God thing, man. When the seniors started, Terry Schinzel years ago, she had a women's group that she would run, the co-founder of the Hope Center. She would have a women's group on Saturdays. And so her heart was always to minister to the grandparents of the kids that went to the Hope Center.
Yeah, yeah.
And so she would meet with them and they would have great times and that kind of thing. Well, fast forward, all these years later, she would have loved, the thought of the seniors from the community having a place to come, and they have their own program now. So since then, other senior groups in the area have closed, which those other groups that have closed, those seniors have been coming to the Hope Center.
Yeah.
And the Hope Center group is just swollen, man, because, and I love it. Unfortunately, the majority of seniors that come to that group have either lost a spouse or a child, and so it's bigger than a support group. It's like it's extending hope even to that age group. And but our primary focus has always been the kids.
Right. Absolutely. But you're supporting the kids by also supporting the adults that are in need, right?
Yeah.
And it's just the whole circle. But a lot of those adults have grandkids.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
And so a number of those grandkids need help, and whether they're already at Hope or potentially could be, right? It's a great way to use the facility, right, as well, and just reach. That's part of the fun, though, right? Is if God's going to tee something up, then we're just, all right, God, what do you want me to do? It doesn't always mean you got to do more, but then He'll present an opportunity to say, let's do more here. And that's the great thing about the Schinzel Community Center aspect of the Hope is it is a community center.
It's community center.
It's there for all sorts of reasons, right? You have roller derby.
Roller derby has been with us for almost 5 years now.
Right.
which in the area, there's no other place that has a roller derby.
Right.
And there's a group of, I forget the name of the exact organization of
Yeah.
roller derby, but if you come to a roller derby event,
Yeah.
man, it's first class.
Yeah.
These athletes
Yeah.
are knocking each other around, and it's like, okay, who would have thought you would have a roller derby
Right.
place in the inner city to where, so, but yeah, I invite you to come to a roller derby event.
Yeah.
Check the Hope Center's website and they'll give you
Okay. The schedule.
the next schedule of when they're going to have another event. And then we have, remember the old ABA league?
That's what I was going to say. You got professional basketball.
Professional basketball as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have our own 402 Elite as they house out of the Hope Center. And so last year was the first year that they did that. And teams from all over the country,
Yeah.
when they would come and play here, man, when I think of the ABA, I think of Dr. J.
Sure.
Yeah, Julius Irving.
Yeah.
But watching those guys play is just, the opportunity, that Hope has provided. Skating ring, of course, skating is picked back up. We have adult skating,
Mm-hmm.
once a week. We have, of course, open to the public for skating. And it's just, when you say community center, it really is a community center with a variety of different things going on.
Yep.
And of course, our adult basketball league, the VBA, Village Basketball Alliance is what it's called.
Yep.
That's been in operation for over 20 some years.
Mm-hmm.
And just the having that first class league, it hasn't always been first class. We had to work to develop to that point.
Mm-hmm.
But having a first class league in the community where guys can come, play on a team, and I'm telling you, and not that we compare. I don't compare like that, but we pride ourselves on. We want this to be a league that you would tell your friends about to come and play in.
Right.
And so that, and of course, like I said, the kids, the day to day ministering to the kids is what we're. If we keep getting that right, I think the Hope Center will far exceed anything that anybody could ever thought. But
Right.
when the kids come in, ages 7 to 12 on one side,
Mm-hmm.
and then 13 and 19 on the other side of the building. And we have a youth, along with our youth program, we have a job training program, HELA, Hope Learning Academy, where kids actually come in, high schoolers come in, and they learn soft job skills, that type of thing. The goal is to prepare them for when they go out and meet, and maybe Eric from where you work, that we will prepare them for being job ready. And so and I love that, man. I love that if you want, it's more than just playing basketball or more than just doing sports. You can come in. There's a variety of different things that you can be a part of at Hope, and then of course the faith piece. Every kid, and we have some of our staff. I love just standing back watching. Tanaya is one of our the leaders on the children's side. She's practically teaching the kids all through the Bible, names, stories, and you ought to hear those little kids, learning those stories and that kind of thing. And I said, if you ask me, okay, what's wrong with this generation of you? I believe there's no God. Well, how come there's no God? Because they're not going to church. They're not being taught. What I love about what's happening at the Hope Center is that we have staff that are from the ground level. When they come in, they're teaching them those things.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And for up until the last 50 years, right? Honestly, when you want to talk about a good education and a solid foundation for individuals, for kids to grow, right? There was a rather accepted foundation that, hey, God-based instruction is one of the best ways to go, because if nothing else, you think about the concept of morality in the world is all taken from what God's word has anyway. And so yes, the world has drifted away from it, and there's a lot of different reasons why. But yeah, I mean, having a sense of the fact that God created us, why he created us, and the fact that God's a loving God, right? If that's the foundation, then all the other aspects of why you should do certain things to live right? Golden rule, telling the truth, all that fun stuff, right? That's predicated on a foundation of love from a loving God, the only God of all of the quote unquote religions, right? The only God that's actually alive and who loves his kids.
That's right.
Right? Every other religion is based on subjugation, is based on control, is based on fear, is based on demand.
Mm.
right? Whereas the word shows us that God the Father did all of this so he could have a relationship with his kids.
See, you said something real key there. They asked the question, they said, why do the alumni keep coming back?
Mm-hmm.
I just said it's real simple. With those alumni who are now adults now, when
Mm-hmm.
the reason why they keep referring to the Hope Center as home for them,
Mm-hmm.
because they got to experience that love of God when they were kids, when they were there.
Right.
You know, that I mean, that unconditional love, that,
Mm-hmm.
being there, supporting them, coming to their games, going to their, I mean, you name it, the Hope Center staff
Right.
was there for them, and they were demonstrating God's love for them.
Right.
And that's the thing that when they come back and they say, "Oh, the Hope Center's home for me," what they're really saying is, I got to experience a level of God's love
Yep.
there during a time in my life when I really needed it. Yeah.
Yep. Well,
Yeah.
there's a phrase, home is where your heart is.
Home is where your heart
And
is.
yeah, so if the Hope Center is where, because I remember I think you had shared, there's a lot of folks that they go to the Hope Center and like, I feel safe here,
Oh yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
Because the conflicts and the challenges outside the walls of the Hope don't come through the walls.
Yeah.
And yes, absolutely, love is, I think, the number one reason, because God's love allows folks to just say it doesn't matter. All that other stuff doesn't matter. What street,
Yeah.
doesn't matter your background, doesn't matter if you have a dad or not, right? That doesn't matter any of those things. You're here, we love you,
Yeah.
right? But that's why it's home. It's where their heart is.
Yeah.
It's where a heart was allowed to grow.
Yeah.
And again, God created us for love, right?
Yeah.
We as human beings, we have a spirit inside us, right? That is a component, our soul and our body, right? And it's because God said, I want you to be a loving individual who is loved by me. And until kids have an environment to understand that, they feel lost.
Yeah. I had a group of kids tell me one time, Eric, gang members at the time, and I mean, not proud of that. But they said their problem, they grew up too fast. They wanted to be kids, but from where they came from, they couldn't.
Yeah.
And they said what they liked about coming to the Hope Center, because I can't say his name, but one specific guy said to me, when he comes to the Hope Center, he doesn't have to worry about the streets.
Yeah.
When he walks in the Hope Center, he knew that the Hope Center staff was going to protect him
Mm-hmm.
inside the Hope Center, and he was free to be a kid again.
Yep.
And I
Yep.
said, "Wow."
Right.
He said many of the kids in the neighborhood, it was the place that it was their safe place.
Right.
You know, and you think about, you said, well, okay, at 13, 14, why are you saying that? Well, the gunshots and all those things, the violence that happens in their neighborhood, you see why the Hope Center was like a reprieve for many of them to come and say, hey,
Right.
I feel safe in here. I get the love of God in here. I get to experience community in here, and that kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. I mean, again, God doesn't put a facility like the Hope Center there in order for chaos to reign,
That's a
right?
good point.
And it's not that, obviously things can happen, but the environment, right? God tees it up as long as the Hope Center, right, leadership and staff, right,
Mhm.
are, hey God, what do you want me to do?
That's right.
Then it's there for His purposes. His
Right.
purposes is for kids to know that they're
Yeah.
loved, right? And then also, honestly, in a practical sense, a Hope Center is smart about how they operate events,
Mhm.
right? You've got security and things, right? For some of those practical, hey, if you're having, guests come in or admission and all that, right? You have all that going on as well.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's something that, and it's hard until you've physically been there and you realize walking around, you're like, oh, this is an amazing place. Like, I don't feel anxiety walking around,
Yeah.
and again, different considerations, but it's just, obviously, again, I'm just glad God had the idea to do that.
Yeah.
And if you think about the staff and leadership and everything that's
Yeah.
there now, right? I mean,
Yeah.
God's assembled an amazing team.
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah.
from
That's so
from
important.
leadership, operations, and spiritual,
important.
and yeah,
You can't run a place like the Hope Center, number one, without God's leading.
yeah,
And number two, I've found even more so, and you know it from where you work, you got to have the right people in the right spot.
yep,
If you don't have the right people in the right spot, then that's true with anything.
Right.
It's going to be harder than what it has to be. Turner Shinzo, the founders, Ty and Terry Shinzo were the founders of the Hope Center. Turner
Yeah.
Shinzo is our current ED,
Hmm.
and if I had to tell you how proud I am, I've had the privilege of watching him grow up
Sure.
as a kid, and the man that he is now, the leader, the type of
Hmm.
leader that he is now,
Hmm.
it's like he has the heart
Hmm.
he said hope was home for him,
Hmm.
and he has the heart of God
Hmm.
and the love for the people. And it's
Hmm.
like, man, he has truly been a blessing. I told him, I said I would leave the before I fought with him on anything major. I would leave the Hope Center because I respect him that
Yeah.
much and the work that he's doing, there,
Yeah.
and supporters. I mean, Hope Center couldn't have survived. We've had supporters over the years that
Hmm.
are committed to Hope and said, "Hey, I believe in what you guys are doing," and financially have been. We
Hmm.
obviously need more of that. I mean, if there's an opportunity, I mean, you
Right.
most definitely, if God has moved on your heart
Right.
to help, because there's so much more that we want to do. And
Right.
I know it takes money to do a lot of those things, but so yeah, if you're interested in volunteering, if you're interested
Yeah.
in coming and wanting to be a part of God is putting on your heart to serve in that area,
Hmm.
all those opportunities are there.
Yeah.
And I love what you
Yeah.
guys do. You got connect. I don't think you ever told me how you got involved in Hope.
Yeah.
Your story, how did your journey to Hope? What was that?
Um, I so initially I was around. I was in the youth group,
Okay,
Zeros
that's right.
Trinity,
Okay, all
right?
right.
So I knew
Okay,
Pastor Ty from that. I was actually closer with Jeff Saxton,
okay.
who's the assistant youth
You
pastor at
pass.
the time,
Okay, yeah.
and worked with Jeff out in the construction world for a while.
Oh, I
And
didn't
then
know that.
God called him, up to Minnesota and
Okay,
there, and then he came back to Omaha years later,
okay.
and God brought him back here for ministry purpose, and he and I had stayed connected over the years, but really reconnected here. And then through that, that's when God basically put me on the clock, and I had about a year to really work on my humility and other things before He freed me up to come to your racial roundtable Bible study on
Oh,
Wednesdays,
okay,
right?
okay,
And
okay.
then at that time, that's when the decision was made to open the Shenzel, and Ed, you're in charge, right?
Oh,
So
I don't
then
think I knew that.
we just started meeting and kind of consulting on how do you take something from a occasional skate facility to a community center,
Wow,
right? And we started working on it. So no,
wow.
so it's that's a funny thing. I'd only been to the Hope Center twice before then, and once
Okay,
was for a Trinity Zeros reunion. And honestly, I was still screwed up enough emotionally and otherwise that I enjoyed a few conversations with some folks, but I didn't necessarily enjoy the evening.
oh, okay.
Funny enough, but I still was impressed. I think from a God perspective with the Hope Center and
Mhm.
what was possible, and that's why it's a delight to me to see. Again, yeah, there's all sorts of changes and folks come and folks go, and it's not about anything. From my perspective, it's not about anything from the past.
Hmm.
It is right now.
Where are we
God
going?
has assembled the people that He wants to be there. I remember
Hmm.
meeting Angela for the first time after Angela's a COO, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah,
Hmm.
after freeing you up from having to run the Shenzel,
Hmm.
right? And meeting her and just it got impressing upon me. It's like she's absolutely the right person to
Wow.
kind of get this place into shape, right? Kind of thing. That's just how it strikes me. I don't know her well, but just in the interactions,
Yeah.
she clearly knows what she's doing,
She's been
right?
wonderful. Yeah.
She's got her stuff together.
Yeah.
She's been there before, and she can tell other people and show them how to do it, right?
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
and that's one of the things that the place was kind of lacking.
Hmm.
Not lack of intent, but lack of maybe a polished purpose, that the ability to
I
execute,
agree.
right?
I agree.
And so I look at all that, like, man, God's putting all these pieces into place, and it's fantastic. And just when I walk around there, it's the same things you were just saying. Even though I wasn't there as a kid, I don't have the same connection. Walk around there, I'm like, man, this place feels like home.
Hmm.
Like it really feels like this is a place where God wants people to come
Yeah.
and be comfortable. And because they're comfortable, then they're open to whatever it is that God has
Hmm.
for them. And so yeah, I'm really excited about to see what God wants to
Hmm.
do with that place.
And you've been a blessing. You met some people down there that you've gotten really close to,
Yeah,
and
oh yeah,
they
some
look to
great
you for
alumni,
different
and,
things.
and
Yeah.
yeah, and it's a blessing to be able to help folks. But again, it's God had to take me on a journey to show me where some of my assumptions or some of
Hmm.
my potential hiccups or hangups, with arrogance and other things, right, could get into trouble. And then gave me an environment at your church on Wednesday nights to where I could actually maybe screw up a couple times and still have enough folks
Yeah.
around, because I mean, not to make light of it, and we only have a couple minutes left to drop a bomb at the end, but the concept of interpersonal relationships when folks look differently,
Mhm.
unfortunately, the world has put a huge microscope on that
Mhm.
and caused folks to second guess and or assume intent
Mhm.
behind words and things, and so it's hard. So you have to spend a lot of time with people
You do.
to
Yeah.
where you're like, man, and so
We got to talk about that. That would be a whole
yeah,
show there. I want to dive into that.
absolutely, yeah, because it's hard. It's
Paying
just,
the price for the relationship and the fighting through the misunderstandings of or the perceived you like this and we're like that. We
right.
put yeah.
Absolutely. And how much conventional wisdom really matters, meaning just because society says that you should or shouldn't have an opinion about someone based on a visible factor or other things, right? How much of that matters? And then how much, if somebody is ignorant and doesn't know the consequences of the words they're saying, how much does that matter?
Right.
Because if you actually love somebody, does it really matter if they're dumb?
Yeah.
And so I say that as a person who's been dumb in certain ways, and I'm like, oh, okay, I don't know. I mean, I've told you before, it's like I can't remember, maybe I was 18 or 19 before I was finally realized that the world told me that folks should act differently depending on who their friends are or what they look like or where they came from, right? And I'm like, well, that's weird. So you got all that stuff. But
I can't wait to get into that.
yeah, that's maybe next time. Then we'll
Yeah.
have to dive into the one of the most fun and loaded topics
Yeah.
out there. So I don't know, but hey, it's real talk, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, that's it.
that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
So, but
Well,
no, but it's Christmas here,
yeah,
just coming
yeah.
up. So
Happy holidays to the TV station and all the wonderful work that
Yep.
it's doing. Chris
absolutely.
Craddock, so proud of you. And yeah, thanks for watching and enjoy.
Yeah,
The
enjoy
holiday.
the holidays. Have a Merry Christmas, and we'll see you after the New Year.
All right, go.
All right. Yep.
Bye.